Yo, what is up everybody? It is me, CLICKBAIT, and today we're here for something different. This is the first time that we're sitting down and actually recording a Pokemon video, which has never really been something that I feel like putting on my channel just because it's not something I could actually do consistently, and I don't really like uploading to my channel with projects that aren't actually going to be finished, if that makes sense. Like, I know that I'm doing week 1 of this, and maybe week 2, possibly week 3, but I definitely do not plan on doing the entire league. But, you know, I figured you guys have been asking me to do this for a while, so I don't have any issues with sitting down and making an unlisted video for you guys now that I actually have some time. I am on spring break, but anyway, I digress. Let's go ahead and get into it. We are here with week 1 of the UPC, and I know that that battle happened weeks ago, but you know what, screw it. I'm going to go back and I'm going to give my post-com on it. I've never done post-com, so don't judge me if I don't do well at it. You know, I'm just out here living life, you know, trying to do my best. But anyway, our week 1 matchup, as you can see, like, these top 2 teams here are mine, and these bottom 2 are our opponent, Kurtastrophe. So I have drafted Kyogre, Landorus, Necrozma, Mega Manectric, Goodra, Klefki, Tornadus, Amoonguss, Miltank, Scrafty, Armaldo, and Beartic. And my opponent has drafted Necrozma, Dawnwings, Mega Mawile, Garchomp, Togekiss, Shaman, Porygon 2, Drapion, Emboar, Mantine, Steelix, Crustle, and Rotom Frost. So right off the bat, the really big threat that I'm noticing is Mega Mawile, because my team really does not deal with that typing very well, the Steel Fairy. Because really, like, my only play rough switch-ins are Amoonguss and Klefki is not bulky enough to really appreciate an Iron Head if you look at the calcs. Amoonguss is, but at the same time, Amoonguss doesn't want to take those very much. Like, if it sets up a Swords Dance, Amoonguss is not taking that well at all. But anyway, let's go ahead and look at my prep, and I apologize, my EVs aren't really done here. Like, some of them are, but most of them are not, just because I had to copy paste this from like a while back and I didn't have all my EVs done at the time. But regardless, start off with Bubble Buddy, the Kyogre, and I remember Crypto last season, he had Kyogre, and he was always raving about how broken Choice Scarf Kyogre is with Modest. I do know that we were like 252 Modest on this with some speed investment, enough to outspeed like whatever the big threats were. Nothing on his team really appreciates that Water Spout. Like, it's even strong enough to OHKO Necrozma Dawnwings with certain spreads. Like offensive spreads, even like 252 HP, I think it's OHKO'd if it doesn't have the Spadef investment. We do have Thunder, because Mantine is a very easy switch into Water Stab with the Water Absorb, obviously. And we have Ice Beam for, what's it called? Shaman being an issue. Something like an Assault Vest Shaman could switch in very well in this, so we do have Ice Beam just in case he is bringing that. Shaman is a very big defensive issue for my team in general, because a lot of my big threats are checked by bulky grass types, like Earth Power from Lando, Thunder from Mega Manectric, Water Spout from Kyogre. Shaman with Assault Vest could really do well with all of those, so like a bulky Shaman is something I'm expecting to see. As well as really offensive, I mean, it's always offensive, but Mega Mawile that just hits like a truck on my team. But moving on, we have my command with Life Orb, that's Landorus, Sheer Force, Life Orb, with Earth Power, Sludge Wave, Knockoff, and Stealth Rocks. Stealth Rocks aren't really amazing in this matchup, but they do help out with things like the Togekiss, which is kind of stopping. You'll see we have Scrafty on this team, and that's kind of stopped by Togekiss. It's also just good for, you know, chipping down his team if he's switching out a lot. I do have a team that I think kind of forces you to switch around a lot, so getting those hazards up early would be nice. But this is really more just for offensive pressure with the Earth Power, taking down things like Mega Mawile, obviously. Emboar, if he chooses to bring it, I don't really think Emboar has the best matchup with the Rain, but if he actually does bring the Emboar, then the Earth Power is there for that. Because honestly, Emboar does actually do a lot to my team when the Rain is not up, but if the Rain is up, then it doesn't really shine that well. We have Sludge Wave for things like the Shaman, like I mentioned before, being an issue, and the Togekiss obviously wanting to switch in on Earth Power with the immunity. And then Knockoff with Life Orb just does a ton to the Necrozma Dawnwings, as it has that 4 times weakness. But we move on. We got my boy Jabbar, the Scrafty, holding the Expert Belt. And I kind of debated a lot on which ability I wanted to run, Intimidate or Moxie. Because, like, as you can see, I have a Dragon Dance set, and I know that Dragon Dance Moxie is way more common. But with the huge pressure that is put on my team by the Mega Mawile, something that can kind of whittle down its attack stat would be really nice. So really the Intimidate is only there for the Mega Mawile. After this thing gets a Dragon Dance up, if Togekiss is out of the way, then it's really having a field day with the team. Like maybe after like 1 or 2 Dragon Dances, it's really just having a good time. Of course, setting up 2 Dragon Dances is easier said than done, but this does have the perfect typing to just switch in on anything that the Necrozma wants to do. You know, because it has like that dark typing. So it has a Psychic Immunity. It has the Ghost Resist. And I'm pretty sure I checked, and Necrozma Dawnwings does not learn Moonblast. So really, all it can do is X Scissor. And Dawnwings is not the best physical attacker. Like, it does have a nice physical attacking stat, but it'd much rather go special. Of course, there's no Hidden Power Fairy, so all I can do is the X Scissor. Getting the Intimidate on that, you know, we can come in and set up in front of that thing. He's probably threatened out by the obvious Dark Stab, so that's why we got the Dragon Dance. Moving on, we got my Swift Swimmer, my boy Icebreaker. You know, like that really lame pickup line where it's like, hey, you know how much a polar bear weighs? Enough to break the ice. That's the, we got my boy Icebreaker. There's a reason I'm single. Anyway, we got Swords Dance Swift Swim set going here with Icicle Crash. Just because it deals massive damage with this base 130 attack stat. I do know that this was like max attack, probably close to max speed. I'm pretty sure we were adamant as well, but Icicle Crash just hitting his team pretty hard in general. In case he thinks that Necrozma is a switch-in, we have Throat Chop, which can OHKO it. In case, you know, obviously Mega Mawile is a decent switch-in to Beartic, but we have the Groundium Z Dig, which actually OHKOs it. Unless it's max HP, max defense, and even then I think it still does. It does a lot to it. I know, I forget the calcs because I did this battle a couple weeks ago, but you know, we have the Swords Dance up too. It definitely kills it with Swords Dance up, no question. But in case you guys didn't see, let me just run back here, and you can see that Kurt has a Trick Room team. Like, his speed isn't really all there, with I think Garchomp being his fastest thing at base 102 speed. So he does have a couple Trick Room setters. I believe Porygon gets it, and I know Necrozma gets it as well. So my team, being a rain team, is kind of weak to Trick Room, so I do have my Trick Room Abuser here. And this is actually, I think, my favorite set of the week. 2-up the Amoonguss, the successor to Crypto's 1-up the Amoonguss. We got 2-up here, rocking out with the Rocky Helmet, to switch in on the Play Rough from Mega Mawile, or even the Iron Head, just to kind of do some damage back to him in return. If he gets the Trick Room up, like, Mega Mawile and Trick Room is terrifying. You know, don't sleep on Kurtastrophe's Mawile. If you have to face him, that thing is a monster. And if you let it set up in Trick Room, you're probably losing. It's no joke. It's really, really bad. Like, look at the calcs. It's insane. But we do have min speed, so we have the Relaxed Nature plus defense minus speed, and we have that with Sludge Bomb, Foul Play, Spore, and Stomping Tantrum. The Spore is to come in, like, if he has like the min speed Trick Room Mega Mawile, I can outspeed him in Trick Room and put him to sleep to slow that down. Sludge Bomb, you know, good for his Togekiss and his Shaman. Foul Play, just getting the dark coverage for, like, if he wants to bring like Swords Dance Necrozma for whatever reason, that thing's gonna OHKO itself with Foul Play. Even without it having a Swords Dance up, it still just gets hit very hard by the Foul Play. And Stomping Tantrum, I don't know why, like, who gave this mushroom? Look at this dude. Who gave a mushroom Stomping Tantrum? It doesn't have feet. It has no feet. So I don't know what that is, but we are rocking out with Stomping Tantrum today. Because, okay, see, the thought process here, and I had to test this, so I didn't fully know how Stomping Tantrum works, but you know, it doubles in power if the last move failed, and that does actually take into account immunities. So if I go for Sludge Bomb on his Mega Mawile switch-in, then I can go for Stomping Tantrum next turn and do like 50 to 60% to him, depending on his spread. So that's pretty nice. It kind of stops me from getting walled by the Mega Mawile, stops me from being prone to like sub Mawile if he wants to switch in and take advantage of, you know, the fact that Amoonguss traditionally does not do much to it. Then, you know, I can hit him with Stomping Tantrum, break a substitute, or you know, just it's really weird, and the chances of it actually like working are pretty like slim to none, but it's there just because I didn't really have a better fourth move for it, and if I do pull it off, then that would be amazing. And I like the calcs for it. Like I said, 50 to 60 against Mega Mawile when usually Amoonguss can't do anything to it is really nice. But anyway, we move into our last set, which is Raiden, the Mega Manectric, rocking out with Thunder to abuse the water, or the rain set up by Kyogre. We have Volt Switch for momentum, Flamethrower, because again, that Mega Mawile is a huge issue, also for things like Shaman. I know Flamethrower is weakened in the rain, but if the rain is not there, then, you know, Flamethrower does do pretty well. And we have Hidden Power Ice for the Garchomp switch in. But anyway, with that, let's go ahead and get into the game. I'm going to slow down the replay just a little bit to help with commentary purposes and zoom in a bit. So, I'm going to go ahead and lead off. Like, he's rocking out with Necrozma, Dawn Wings, Porygon 2, Shaman, Emboar, Togekiss, and Rotom Frost. And initially, I'm seeing that there's no Mega Mawile, which was like mind-blowing, and that's because Kurt operates under a philosophy that I always tend to forget about, which is that he doesn't like to bring the most obvious Mon. And considering how much I did prep for Mega Mawile, like, he's definitely right, that was the most obvious one. Whether or not that pays off, we'll see. We do see Emboar, which is kind of weird. Like I said, like, I didn't really think Emboar had the best matchup with when the rain is up, but when the rain is not up, it actually does have potential to do some very mean things, countering things like the Beartic, the Amoonguss, Scrafty. So, you know, depending on how it's used, it does have a lot of potential in this matchup. But I decided I'm just going to lead off with Scarf Kyogre. Nothing really wants to take a Water Spout except for the Shaman, which I do have switch-ins to. Like I said, Kyogre, he leads with his Togekiss and just gets absolutely obliterated. This is huge because he has nothing that really wants to switch on Scrafty at this point. So he goes into Porygon 2, and I'm expecting to see a Thunderbolt, so I go right into Volt Absorb, Manectric. He actually sets up the Trick Room like I expected. Well, I expect him to bring Trick Room, that is. I decide I can eat any hit, so I just go for Volt Switch here as he goes for Ice Beam. And I can go right into my Scrafty and hopefully go for a knockoff, get rid of this thing's Eviolite. Or if he wants to switch, I'll get rid of whatever item he's going into. So he actually goes into his Shaman, and we see Expert though. So I'm expecting this to be like an offensive Shaman, which isn't too bad because bulky Shaman I think does more to my team. So we see Seed Flare, misses, unfortunate for him, but not really too much. Like, I would have eaten the hit, the defense or the special defense drop could have been there. But we go for Sludge Bomb. He goes for Air Slash, and right here I ran some calcs. This actually is a bulky Shaman. Sludge Bomb should have done much more if he wasn't like max HP, and I think like a lot is for depth investment as well. So he has a pretty interesting Shaman set here, because he had the Expert Belt, but then he also has bulk investment, which I think was probably the perfect Shaman set for my team. Yeah, I really like the Shaman prep here, just because like he can handle things like my Kyogre while also defensively handling Kyogre, Landorus, and Manectric and the like. But he goes for Sludge Bomb. I decide to just switch out here as the Trick Room ends. I don't want to take chances on the Air Slash Flinch, and I figure that's all he has to go for. I can follow it up with a Flamethrower, but he actually reveals Rest here, which is really nice for the Natural Cure. He can just switch that out right now, and you'll see Natural Cure activates. He wakes up immediately, and I actually think that's a very smart bring on Kurt's part, because Synthesis would have been hindered in the rain, only doing 25%. So really nice prep to Kurt right there. He goes into Porygon 2 on the Overheat. Yeah, I actually do switch Flamethrower out for Overheat. I forgot about that. But we end up going for Volt Switch here. Porygon just eating that up. It's kind of ridiculous. We go into Amoonguss, and I figure I kind of want to put this Porygon 2 to sleep with Spore, but he predicts that, goes right into his Shaman on the Spore. Goes for the Seed Flare, I guess predicting a switch, or maybe just hoping for the Split Death Drop, I don't really know. But I go for Sludge Bomb, I get a critical hit poison, and I apologize for that, it's a little unfortunate. I just go for Sludge Bomb again, because I figure he has to go for rest, so I'd rather just get that damage off on him. Just keep spamming Sludge Bomb here. On the second, or I guess technically third Sludge Bomb, he actually switches out into Fangari, then Necrozma Dawn Wings, which eats it up. I don't want to stay in and go for Foul Play, because the Psychic move really hurts, so I just go right into Scrafty, very reliable switch into the Necrozma, as he sets up Stealth Rocks, which kind of sucks, but not a huge deal. I can actually just set up Dragon Dance here, though, like I was saying in my team builder. Dragon Dance is very free against the Necrozma because he can't do anything. And right here, I get a high jump kick critical hit, which is very unfortunate, but at the same time, it might not be super unfortunate. Because after running the calcs, I do find against the set that he brought, there was still a good chance for my Adamant Scrafty to OHKO it with high jump kick there. But I think that the roll was a little bit more in his favor, something like 40-60, leaning towards him. So there was still a pretty good chance of me just OHKOing it right there, but the critical hit was unfortunate, so I do apologize for that. Not sure how much it would end up mattering, but the fact that it was a crit kind of sucks, so sorry to Kurt about that. But we move on. We have Jabbar set up for good things right here, and he goes into Shaman. Kind of forced me to go for the high jump kick. I could have gone for Ice Punch, and I should have gone for Ice Punch, but lose half my health there. Just follow up with a knockoff, as he has no switch-ins that really want to take 2 hits, especially not a knockoff, getting rid of the item. So he goes right into Rotom Frost here, misses Blizzard. More unfortunate circumstances revolving around this Scrafty. I did actually look at the calcs though. With my HP investment, I would have lived a Blizzard, and I still would have picked up the kill on this thing, but we will see here is that he's going to bring in Shaman and go for Air Slash, which we do end up living. If the Blizzard had hit, obviously, we would not have lived the Air Slash here. So, I do think that the miss mattered, but more so for differential than anything. So yeah, we finished off with a knockoff. He brings in Porygon 2, traces the Intimidate, and I don't know, like, I forgot that he could do that, and I assume that he forgot as well, because he was definitely very free to just keep bringing in Porygon 2 and Intimidating to get rid of my attack boost. I don't know if he just had other plans, or if he forgot that he could do that, but he does end up dropping the attack back down to neutral. I stay in and go for knockoff, because this thing can still actually wall my team. So I decided to get rid of the Evil. Yes, he goes for Trick Room, so I go right into a Moongus. Since I know I outspeed, I can take any hit and just put it right to sleep with Spore. And that gives me a very, very safe switch into my Kyogre. After Rock's damage, Water Spout is still doing more than Origin Pulse, and there's also not the miss chance that Origin Pulse has. So I go right for a Water Spout on this turn. He actually outspeeds though and hits me with a Toxic. I guess he was not packing the Thunderbolt, which was interesting, to say the least, but we go for Water Spout, and that is GG to Kurt. Like I said, there was some unfortunate circumstances revolving around the Scrafty sweep. The critical hit may have mattered. The Blizzard mattered more so for differential than anything. I do think that I was very lucky to not have to deal with that Mega Mawile. Even though I did have answers to it, it still was just a really, really big issue for my team, even with all the prep that I had for it. Especially if it was something like Substitute Swords Dance. That would have just been a real big pain to play around. But that is going to be GG. Trying to think if there are any more thoughts that I have on this matchup. Emboar was really interesting. Letting the Togekiss go down turn 1 was just really good for me because, like I said, like that could have stuck around with, like, if it was like max HP, then it could have eaten the Ice Punches up and just Dazzling Gleamed or Moonblast. I think it is Moonblast, and just got rid of Scrafty on the spot, which puts him in a much better situation for that match, seeing how much work Scrafty ended up putting in. But anyway, hope you guys did enjoy. This is my very first Pokemon post-com Pokemon video in general. So let me know how I did. Let me know if there's something I need to improve on or whatever. But yeah, anyway, with that, it has me, SketchAB, gonna get out. Peace.